Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating and honestly absolutely crucial part of the 2010 Constitution of Kenya. We're talking about Chapter 14. Now, this chapter tackles the ultimate tightrope walk, national security. How exactly does a country protect its borders and its people without crushing the very freedoms that make it a democracy in the first place? Let's break it down.
Picture this scenario for a second. The government comes out and says, hey, we need more power to keep you and your family safe. We need more surveillance, more security checks on the roads, maybe some restrictions on movement. Would you support that? I mean, every Kenyan wants safe neighborhoods, safe businesses, safe schools, right? But who makes sure those new powers aren't abused? And that brings us to the ultimate question at the heart of Chapter 14. How do we stay secure without losing the personal freedoms that define our democratic society?
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, redefining national security. Second, Kenya's 3 security organs. Third, the constitutional guardrails. And finally, the everyday impact.
Okay, jumping right into Section 1, redefining national security. Let's completely rethink what that phrase actually means.
Under Article 238, national security is way more than just guarding the borders from outside threats. Just look at the sheer scope of this definition. It specifically guarantees the protection of the people, their rights, their freedoms, their property, and get this, even their prosperity. Yes, the Constitution literally considers your economic stability and your peace as matters of national security. The main takeaway here is that true security isn't just about chasing bad guys, it's this broad umbrella that actively protects the rights and the economic well-being of everyday Kenyans.
It's really interesting to contrast what we usually think with what the law actually says. Usually, we just picture police officers catching criminals. It's a very narrow, reactive kind of view. But the Constitution paints a completely different picture. It dictates that defending human rights and ensuring local businesses have a thriving environment are foundational to our security. Protecting the borders and responding to disasters, they're just as much a part of national security as stopping crime in your neighborhood. Because honestly, without that solid baseline of security, businesses struggle, investment dries up, and society just kind of stalls out.
So, who actually holds up this massive umbrella? Let's move to Section 2, Kenya's 3 security organs.
The Constitution divides all this heavy lifting into 3 very distinct lanes. First up, we have the Kenya Defense Forces, or KDF. They're your external shield. Think protecting the actual borders of the country. Second, the National Police Service, the NPS. They handle internal law and order. They're the visible presence you see out there every day, responding to crime and protecting citizens. And third, operating mostly behind the scenes, is the National Intelligence Service, or NIS. They gather intelligence to identify and neutralize hidden threats long before they ever happen. Together, these 3 form a complete, cohesive defensive shield for Kenya.
But you might be wondering, how do these 3 very different groups stay on the same page? Well, under Article 240, the Constitution establishes the National Security Council. This is the overarching supervisory body. It sits right at the top, presided over by the President, and includes the Deputy President, key cabinet secretaries, the Attorney General, and the heads of the KDF, NIS, and the police. Their whole job is to seamlessly integrate domestic, foreign, and military policies so everything works together. And importantly, this council is highly accountable. They are required to report annually on the state of Kenya's security directly to Parliament.
Now, giving institutions the power to use force and gather intelligence is dangerous if left unchecked. So, Section 3, the constitutional guardrails.
I really want to pause on this quote because it is literally the bedrock of a democratic society. Article 239, Clause 5 states, "The national security organs are subordinate to civilian authority." What does that actually mean in plain English? It means the military and the police do not run the country, period. No matter how many weapons they have or how vital their jobs are, they ultimately answer to the elected civilian government. And through that government, they answer to you, the people of Kenya. They are servants of the public, definitely not the masters of it.
So how does this actually play out in real life? Well, Articles 238 and 239 lay down some absolutely non-negotiable boundaries. First, security agencies have to do their jobs in strict compliance with the law, showing total respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms. Second, they have to be strictly nonpartisan, meaning no playing politics. They can't further the interests of any political party or mess with a legitimate political cause. They work for Kenya, not for politicians. And finally, to make sure they truly represent the public they're protecting, their recruitment has to reflect the regional and ethnic diversity of the Kenyan people.
If you only take away one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. Security agencies are supposed to protect citizens, not intimidate them. National security can never, ever be used as a convenient excuse to trample on your rights. If your legal freedoms are being stripped away under the guise of safety, the Constitution is being violated. Things like lawful arrests, respecting human dignity, and public accountability, those aren't just nice-to-haves. They are strict constitutional requirements.
All right, we've talked a lot about constitutional law and big state organs. Let's bring it down to ground level. Section 4, the everyday impact.
Why should Chapter 14 matter to you, personally? Well, because when security actually works the way the Constitution intended, meaning strictly within the confines of the law, amazing things happen. Trust is built. When communities feel safe and actually trust the police, the fear just vanishes. And when that fear is gone, people move freely, businesses can stay open later, investments start pouring in, and tourism flourishes. A stable, thriving economy is fundamentally built on a security apparatus that the public genuinely trusts.
But keep in mind, maintaining this balance, it's not a one-way street. The government has its strict constitutional duties, for sure, but citizens have a role to play too. We all contribute to national security by following the law, stepping up with community policing, reporting suspicious activities, and actively promoting peace, especially during tense moments like elections. Oh, and stopping the spread of misinformation? That is a huge part of maintaining the exact stability that Chapter 14 is trying to protect.
Which brings us right back to the beginning. A genuinely secure country protects both its people and their rights. So I want to leave you with this thought. Where do you draw the line between the government's power to keep order and your own personal fundamental freedoms? Something to chew on the next time you see a police patrol or read a headline about national security. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will see you next time as we keep decoding the Constitution.